Hello and welcome to Bored and Confused, where I review shows based on two criteria. One, was I bored? Two, was I confused? But today we are doing our off-Broadway fall preview. Now, I did a Broadway fall preview. People really enjoyed that, asked me to do an off-Broadway one. So I'm gonna dive into that. There are a lot of shows off-Broadway. There are a lot more theaters, and I've made a list of them, but I'm going to be telling you about these shows, and as I tell you about them, I am going to be learning about them myself. So my ignorance is going to be on full display with some of these shows today. So let's just dive in. I've only picked shows that start previews in September or through end of December. And I'm going to be reading off my laptop on a lot of these. And I tried to pick shows that had some buzz and that also had decent runs, because generally I don't review shows that run shorter than 1 month off Broadway, unless it's something like City Center Encores. Okay, so let's jump into this. Pre-existing condition at the Greenwich House Theater. Previews begin on September 1st and it opens September 14th. Now this is an interesting show. It stars one actor, but it keeps changing. We got Lupita Nyong'o, Philippa Sue, Susanna Flood, Hari Neff, Edie, Falco. So multiple actresses play the central woman in this play, and it is directed by Maria Dizia. A woman attempts to rebuild her life after a devastating relationship. Well, I can relate. No, actually I can't. The production's most unusual structural idea is that different performers perform the central role. My concern with this kind of approach to a play of just changing the lead actor over and over again is that we don't really get a play that has really had a chance to grow and live and be developed around one actor, directed around one actor. Now, I'm sure, of course, the director is going to work each individually, but my guess is that I would approach this show as more like you're seeing a preview. You're seeing almost a reading, but you're seeing an actor really kind of taking their first steps into a role, because they're not going to really have the time to fully develop those performances. So part of this is, I'm a little cynical in that it feels a little bit like, wow, this is a great way to get people to come back and see the play over and over again, because these are great actors in these roles. And I know I'm excited. I'm especially excited about, these are all great. But Susanna Flood, after having seen her in my favorite play last season, Liberation, I loved her so much that I would love to see her. And Edie Falco, she's incredible. So I bet Edie Falco tickets will be hard to get. I don't know if I'll review this one though, because none of these actors will be in it for a full month. So my excitement on this show, I'm gonna say put it at a 4, just because it has to equal out with the fact that some actors I'm more interested in, some I'm less interested in, and I'm concerned about this show. Okay, I gotta speed this up because we got a lot of shows to get through. So next we have September 3rd. Previews begin for Gary Starr Classic Penguins at Studio Seaview. Now, I've seen advertisements for this. Damian Warren Smith, directed by Cal McChrystal. One performer attempts to perform every Penguin classic novel in under an hour. The premise is deliberately impossible and therefore built around speed, physical comedy, character switching, and audience recognition. In the description, it says, the joke is not whether he can literally summarize every Penguin classic. It is how far the performance can push the premise before it collapses. This show appears to be under an hour, so this sounds really fun to me. I love one-person shows. I love crazy things like this. As long as the ticket price is reasonable for 1 hour, I will definitely want to go see this. So this just sounds crazy to me, and I sometimes really enjoy crazy. So I'm gonna put my excitement for this at about, let's say, a 7. All right, next we have The Holes at the Wild Project. This begins previews September 8th and runs through October 18th. The writer is Max Wolf-Friedrich, directed by Michael Herwitz. So there's not a lot of details out about this that I've read, but this piece is supposed to be another dark, high-concept theatrical work from the team who brought us Job. Brought us Job. Gosh, 2 seasons ago, I saw Job off Broadway, and I really loved it, but it was one of those plays that in the moment is so good, but then as you walk away from it, you start to go, wait a minute. So I do have some concern about Max Wolf-Friedrich because I felt that with Job, although it was such a great premise, I don't know if it had thoroughly been really figured out the way I like plays to be airtight. in the minds of their creators. But coming off of Job, I think this is going to be a highly anticipated play, and I'm going to rank my excitement at a 7 as well for this. Next, we have Going Bacharach, the Songs of an Icon, playing at the Marjorie S. Dean Little Theater. That begins September 9th and should run approximately through December 1st. I think the last show that was at the Marjorie S. Dean Little Theater was also a review of Opening Doors. We're opening doors. Maltby and Shire. So it seems to be a popular theater for these kind of reviews. All right, so this is co-created by Will Friedwald, very German from the last one, Adrian Galante, Ted Firth, and Jack Lewin, and it's directed by David Zippel. Adrian Galante serves as a arranger, orchestrator, conductor, pianist, and clarinetist, 3 vocalists with a 5-piece band. So this is simply a musical review of the music by Burt Bacharach, who I do love. And this show has actually played in New York before. I did not see it, but the interesting thing is that it's not just a jukebox playlist. The original production was built around fresh arrangements and this small ensemble, with Galante also functioning as the musical engine of the evening. And it was successful in New York when it was here prior, and it has traveled around, and now it's coming back home. So this feels like a cabaret / review. I'm not super excited about that when it comes to theater. I'm more excited about seeing new musicals. But, you know, if I can snag a press ticket to this, because it has a long run, I will definitely check it out and tell you all about it. But my excitement is pretty low. I think I'm going to say a 2. All right, the next one, in honor of Jean-Michel Basquiat at New York Theater Workshop. This is opening September 9th and goes through October 4th, so it's a pretty short run. I'm not always able to get into New York Theater Workshop. Sometimes I can, sometimes I can't. So I don't know if I'll see this or not. It's created and performed by Roger Guenveur. Guys, we're gonna get names slaughtered in this video because I did no preparation. Smith, live sound design. Mark Anthony Thompson, live sound design? Okay. This is a solo work honoring Jean-Michel Basquiat, filtered through Roger Smith's personal friendship and collaboration with the artist, rather than through a conventional cradle-to-grave biography. Well, that sounds nice. So, you know, the real draw to this is the fact that this is a friend of Basquiat, and so they're going to be telling their story. I don't know Roger's work, so the question is, are they a good storyteller? Are they a good actor? Are they a good showman? I like Basquiat's work, but I really don't know a lot about the man, and I am interested in it. But this is going to be one of those, if I can snag a press ticket, I'll go see it. But otherwise, the run is so short that I don't know if I'm excited enough to really check this out. So I'm going to say my excitement level is a 3. All right, next one, Midnight at the Darrell Roth Theater. This I'm excited about because this is a new musical written by Todrick Hall, who I am familiar with. Book, music, and lyrics, and direction. Doing a lot there. But if anyone can do it, Todrick Hall can. I don't know if you guys know who Todrick Hall is, but I remember just seeing him. He's an excellent singer, and he would do these Disney songs with like 6-part harmonies where he'd sing all the parts and orchestrate them himself. He's had some songs that he's written that have really done well in kind of in the gay queer space. He also was in Kinky Boots, playing Lola for a stint. The guy is incredibly talented, dancer, singer, writer, producer. So I'm excited to see this. I'm a little worried though that he's doing all 4, because it's one thing to make a music video doing all 4 things, and it's another to do a whole musical. We'll see. So what is it about? Set in the 19th century American South, this new musical follows characters searching for love, conflict, understanding, and agency. Hall is writing the musical and directing it, giving him unusually complete artistic control. Ain't that the truth? So I'm definitely excited to hear this score. I'm a little worried about the book. I'm going to go in with really low expectations based on what I saw last in this space, but at the same time, I'm really excited to see this show. So I'm going to put my excitement at a 9. I'm going to see this show, whether I get a press ticket or not. Next, we have Lost in Del Valle. Lost in Del Valle. This is a show that opens on September 14th. It's a solo performance featuring Ned Van Zant, and it's a true story about a well-born Texan who conquered Hollywood, not me, and eventually wound up in prison, not me either. The biography itself provides the engine. It's the kind of life that sounds unbelievable even when it is true. It's perfect material for a solo show because the audience is continually waiting for the next escalation. So again, I'm not familiar with Ned Van Zandt. Doing more research would have been nice, Matt. Okay, but this is a one-person show, which I do love one-person show. I'll just see if he can make this story interesting, see if this guy is a good showman. Because I just don't know a lot about this, although I am from Texas. My excitement for this is a 3. Okay, How Shakespeare Saved My Life at the Public Theater. Well, we know the Public Theater, they do good work. Previews begin September 15th and it runs till October 18th, just a little over a month. So I may go check this out. It's written and performed by Jacob Ming Trent, who I'm familiar with, and directed by Tony Taccone. So in this, Ming Trent explores the role Shakespeare, hip-hop, poetry, and performance played in finding connection, forgiveness, and purpose. Sounds like an interesting mashup. This is another example of a one-person show. I'm gonna Google him. Okay, I just know him because he's an actor that's been in a lot of things. Seems like he has a really interesting life, having grown up in Pittsburgh or Boston. Born in Boston, grew up in Pittsburgh. Booked his first play at age 11. His arts education started at the Performing Arts Middle School, followed by the Pittsburgh Creative and Performing Arts High School before moving to New York City at 17 to train at the Stella Adler Conservatory. And he was accepted into the Public Theater, their New York City Shakespeare Lab, where he was the youngest person ever accepted. So this is a man of the theater, and that excites me. So I am excited to see a man of the theater tell us about how Shakespeare saved his life. I think that could be a funny, moving, interesting story. I'm going to put my excitement level at a 5. All right, next we've got creation stories and all the importance at Lincoln Center Theater 3 up on the roof at the Claire Tau. So, Mafoniso Udofio is the cast. It's a character-driven story centered on a middle-aged black woman balancing work, family, and selfhood. Her work frequently explores family, identity, migration, and the stories people construct around themselves. So this one sounds like we're trying out something new at Lincoln Center Theater, which is what that space is for. The preview starts September 15th and it runs through November 1st. You know what? If I can snag a press ticket to this, which I should be able to, I'll check this out. It sounds interesting. But am I super excited? No, I'll say excitement level is we'll give it a 3. Okay, we got Degenerates at Playwrights Horizons. And that begins previews September 16th and opens September 29th. It's just under a month run, but anything at Playwrights Horizons that's being produced by Playwrights Horizons, I will go see because they just do, the artistic director and that team, they pick such great work. So the casting, the creative includes Elsie Wendt, and it's directed by Emma Rosa Wendt. Wonder if they're related. Young men find belonging in an online incel community, and an unexpected relationship threatens the group's worldview. Oh, that sounds fun. Okay, so that sounds really timely and uncomfortable and just ripe for drama. So this, I'm curious to see how they handle this subject because you potentially have characters that could be really unlikable, could be monsters. So hopefully they can humanize them, and if they're able to do that, that will be a fascinating insight into this world. So I'm getting myself excited just talking about it. I'm going to say excitement level 7, just mainly because it's at Playwrights Horizons. Okay, next we come to Slam Frank at the Orpheum Theater. That begins preview September 17th, and I believe it's open run. Now, I've done a review of this show before. I did a review of a concert production. I'm friends with the writer, one of the writers, Andrew Fox. And it's written by Andrew Fox, Joel Sineski. It's directed by Sam Lafrage. And they're going to announce the cast and creative, but I'm sure it's mostly of what was playing at the Asylum, which I was offered the opportunity to go to the Asylum, but I'm glad I skipped it because I'm much rather wanting to see it in this proper, not that the Asylum is not a proper space, but the Asylum is great and terrible things have gone through the Asylum, and it's not, so I'm always a little curious about that space and what they're going to be able to present because the sound in that space can be tricky, especially for a musical. So, but the Orpheum is a great theater. It's an iconic theater. I'm so happy that this show has found a home there. I know this play is very divisive. I was not upset by it because I understood the thinking behind it and didn't have a proper problem with it because I actually felt it did have a point. But does it poke the bear? Is it trying to make people angry? Absolutely. And that's, Andrew is being brilliant in using that to get his show seen. The more people that are talking about your show, the more people are going to come see it. So my excitement on this, it wouldn't be as exciting to me if I hadn't already seen that reading of it, but I'm pretty excited to see this in its new place. So I'm going to say excitement level is an 8 for this. All right, next we got Good Time Charlie at the Public Theater. Now, there used to be, wasn't there a musical called Good Time Charlie with Anne Reinking and Joel Grey about King Charles or something in France? I don't think that is this, because this is written and starring Ryan J. Haddad and directed by Danny Sharon. September 24th is the first preview, and it runs till October 18th. So just another one, just under a month. A multi-generational family story about gay men, art, love, and the expectations adults place on younger generations. Let's just look it up. So this is a solo artist is now doing a piece with multiple artists, including Jonathan Raviv, a friend of mine, who's playing Charlie. Good for you, Jonathan. Beth Malone, Timothy Bagley, Michael Christopher, and Nail Nasser. So, and Artemis Pebdani. Okay, so this sounds like an interesting cast. I'm interested in this, and it's at the Public. So we'll go check this out. I'm really curious to see this play, and I'm going to give my excitement level at a 5. Hey, Editing Matt here. There's a play I forgot to include, and that is Anon, A Tempest at Our Kitchen Table. It's going to play at MCC Theater. It begins preview September 25th and closes November 1st. This play is by Anne Washburn, best known for Mr. Burns, a post-electric play, and it's directed by Anne Kaufman, whose recent work includes Mary Jane. It's a world premiere and the first production of MCC's 2026-27 season. And what is it about? I'll tell you real quick. Jeannie, a Gen X woman living in a Texas suburb, is increasingly consumed by TikTok and online culture. When a gay pride flag appears across the street, she and the people around her begin to freak out. Two apparently very different households become caught up in the situation, and the distinction between what is actually happening and what people imagine, believe, post, and consume online begins to break down. This sounds like I'm from Texas. This sounds like a very interesting subject, and I never saw Mr. Burns, a post-electric play, but it was I've heard it talked about so much. I was so sad to miss it. So I'm really excited, and this is at my neighborhood theater. So my excitement to see this play is probably like an 8. The only worry I have is if it just becomes too heavy-handed with the political nature of it. But yeah, I'm really excited to see that. Okay, next one we have Memoirs of Amorous Gentlemen. That's a provocative title, at the Night Egg at the Culture Club, which is where Sleep No More used to be. Because it's such a big building, these multiple theaters with interesting names keep popping up. The Night Egg at the Culture Club. So also in this space is Heated Rivalry, which I have not forgotten about, guys. I have the first episode ready to watch. I've just got to figure out how to record everything and sync it up, which it's been very busy here at Bored and Confused Studios. All right, so Memoirs of Amorous Gentlemen. This I'm very excited about. This is a new musical with music and lyrics by Duncan Sheik and a book by Leah Nanako Winkler. It's directed and choreographed by Rob Ashford, who is a great director but an even greater choreographer. Scenic design is by Scott Pask, costumes by Catherine Zuber, lighting Brian Tovar, sound Cody Spencer, Hair Weeks Tom. I mean, look, they already know who's doing this. This thing is wanting, it feels like it wants to go to Broadway with these people. And it's starring Sophia Ann Caruso. She's a young lady who starred in Beetlejuice. So this is based on Mayoko Anno's award-winning Japanese manga. This new musical follows Colette, a witty young dreamer in 20th century Paris, who works at the mysterious Maison Close Night Egg. So they're naming the theater after the space. Got it. She begins recording the fantasies, confessions, and private sorrows of the men who visit, gradually turning herself from object into observer and transforming other people's perversions into art. This sounds so Japanese. But her growing independence is complicated by her destructive attachment to Leon, her childhood love. Okay, I was going into this with super low expectations, but I'm just excited by this cast and crew. I mean, just the people that are putting this together. It is the first Japanese manga to be developed into an English language American musical. And the Night Egg will be a brand new venue, so they're going to create it right around this show. I'm curious how big it will be. So my excitement for this is a 10. Look, I don't know what I'm getting into, but I got to see this. This thing I will be seeing. And it is beginning preview September 25th and is scheduled to run through January 3rd. So it's a nice, decent sized run. I'm really excited about that. Okay, next we have Fish at Signature Theater, September 26th. First preview. It's written by Melise Aker and it's directed by Tatiana Pandiani. A 17-year-old investigates her brother's disappearance through an online experiment that becomes increasingly sinister. So this sounds a little bit like a horror story, which is often very difficult to do on the stage. I'm not familiar with these folks. It is just about a month-long run, but I'll definitely go see it. It's at Signature. But my excitement for this, because I don't know if this subject horror, internet horror is really my vibe. I'm going to just put my excitement at a 4. All right, next, Kramer / Fauci at St. Anne's Warehouse. Conceived and directed by Daniel Fish, Will Brill as Anthony Fauci, Thomas J. Ryan as Larry Kramer. I love Will Brill. I'm sure I know who Thomas J. Ryan is. This is a theatrical recreation of the famous 1993 televised confrontation between AIDS activist Larry Kramer and Dr. Anthony Fauci. It kind of reminds me of like Frost Nixon, which was excellent. So this kind of thing can be done well. It is strange though when you can actually go and watch it on TV. But Will Brill is an incredible actor. So I'm excited just to see him again. Everything I've seen him in so far I've loved. He was most recently in The Cartosians, which he was excellent in, as was everyone. So Larry Kramer is a fascinating person. He was an activist and also a playwright who wrote The Normal Heart. So I'm just interested in, and the fact that Will Brill's in this gives me my excitement level a 8. Next, we have A Ghost in Your Ear. This begins September 29th, written by Jamie Armitage. It's immersive horror. Cast and creative to be announced. An audiobook recording session becomes terrifyingly real with the audience experiencing the story through headphones. I don't know. I'm dubious about this. I'm going to need to know more. I've had some headphone theater experiences that were good, but there's not many of them and they're tricky to do. So excitement for this is low, 2. Okay, so let's move on. Next we have Soon at St. Luke's Loft. I didn't know there was a loft at St. Luke's. This begins preview September 30th. It's by Nick Blaymeyer. So what is it about? Charlie waits for the end of the world while Jonah waits for Charlie to start living. This show has had a long development history. So I don't know, I'm concerned about this because some of the stuff I've seen by Nick Blaymeyer has not really excited me. Often a very interesting concept that he writes about, but then it doesn't always go all the way through. And his style of writing is very contemporary musical theater, kind of with a rock. Am I talking out my ass? Let me make sure. Yeah, Nick Blaymeyer wrote the infamous Glory Days, which ran like all of a week at Circle in the Square. But I also I enjoyed his Space Dogs, but a lot of his stuff feels like a really fun idea that kind of often peters out after 30 minutes. So maybe this time he'll have a home run. All right, next, Phil, spelled P-H-Y-L, at Theater Row Theater 4. It's the Mint Theater Company is producing this. You know, things at Theater Row can always be a little dodgy. There's like 4 theaters in that space, and I have to say, more often than not, I'm not super thrilled by the shows I saw, but I remember seeing that show with Rob McClure about harvesting organs for rich people, spare parts. I thought that was great. So let's hope that this is another great show playing at Theater Row. We're into October, you guys. Gosh, this video is going to go forever. It's by Cicely Hamilton, directed by Britt Burke. Phil Chester, is trapped in the lonely existence of a governess, separated from the life and freedom she wants. When she finally loses her temper and does something that could cost her everything, the play becomes a story about repression, class, gender, and the limited choices available to women. So it sounds like there's young people in this show, which worries me. Okay, so this is a rescued play. This is a remounting. Hamilton, the writer, was a British suffragist, actress, playwright, and feminist. So the play arrives with a fascinating history, context beyond its plot. All right. So I remember recently, what was it? I'm going to say the name wrong. Mechanic. It was the story about the woman who killed her husband in the 1920s. And it was a similar kind of older play that got remounted. And this feels similar to that. So everything about this play is really going to depend about this production, because I feel like the play is dated. It's going to feel dated, I think. And if they're able to make it feel alive and modern. So I'm a little dubious about this one. Cast has been announced. I did see it in an email, but no one really stood out to me. My excitement's just a 2 for this. Okay, moving on. King of the Yees at Signature Theater. This is October 6th. Lauren Yee, directed by Joshua Cohen Brody. Lauren searches for her missing father and finds herself pulled into a surreal journey through family history and San Francisco Chinatown. So this show is for people who like theater, about the process of making theater, which if it's done in an exciting way, I can be into that. Excitement level 4. Next, we have The Heart, a new musical opening at the Laura Pels Theater, Roundabout Theater Company, October 8th. Previews begin. It runs through December. So this has got book and additional lyrics by Kate Kerrigan, music and lyrics by Anne Eisendrath and Ian Eisendrath, direction Christopher Ashley, choreography Mandy Moore. Anne Eisendrath is an American electronic synth pop music artist, producer, singer, songwriter, and musical theater composer. She did work on K-pop Demon Hunters alongside Ian, her husband, I'm guessing. All right, so Anne is married to Ian, and together they did music and lyrics with book and additional lyrics by Kate Kerrigan. Direction by Christopher Ashley, busy guy. Choreography by Mandy Moore. So this is about a young surfer dies suddenly and his heart is transplanted into a stranger. Over the course of 24 hours, the musical follows the donor's family, the recipient, and the medical team whose lives are connected by the transplant. It's based on Melis de Kerangal's acclaimed novel Réparer les Vivants. All right, I'm excited for this because it's a new musical and it's roundabout, but based on when singer-songwriters come and write a musical and then they bring in someone like Kate Kerrigan who then is writing additional lyrics, it makes me feel like the show needed a lot of help and there's maybe a lot of cooks in the kitchen. Here's the problem about some shows. When you start writing your show and you don't really understand what it is you're writing it, you can write yourself into a corner and then it's really hard to get out of that corner. So I definitely am excited to see this, but I'm going to go in with low expectations and also a concern that it's going to be sentimental and emotionally manipulative because of the subject matter. This is not something I would choose normally to write a show about, but it definitely sounds dramatic and interesting. And the fact that they write electropop, so I'm a little hesitant, but my excitement for this is pretty high, so we'll say an 8. All right. Next, The Curious Case of Benjamin Button at the Public Theater. That begins October 8th. Book and lyrics by Lethrow Compton. Music and lyrics by Darren Clark. Directed by Jethro Compton. It's an actor-musician company. Now, this show premiered in London. It won the Olivier Award for Best New Musical, beating out much bigger shows. And it's a small-scale show, which I think is great for off-Broadway. I think it's smart that they're coming to the Public Theater. And I have heard about this show and I've heard great things about it. I'm guessing it's going to remind me of shows like Once or other folksy kind of musician actors. And I love musician actors when everything's incorporated. I love it. It's so theatrical where everybody does everything. So my excitement for this is a 10. I knew that if I went to London, I was going to see this show, and I'm glad that they brought it here to me so I don't have to make the leap across the pond. All right, The Unbelievers at Manhattan Theater Club. October 13th is the first showing. Nick Payne, directed by Nude Adams, Lauren Ambrose, and Tom Riley. A blended family lives with the unresolved disappearance of their teenage son. Okay, so this sounds like a mystery. It's a lot of drama here. Seems like really heavy material. This is playing at New York City Center 1, which is a great space, and they get really good plays in there. So, although the subject matter on this feels a little dark for me, I definitely want to see it. So my excitement for this is a 7. Hey, it's me again. There's another play I forgot to include. Classic Stage Company is doing a revival of Clifford Odets' Waiting for Lefty. The last thing I saw at Classic Stage Company was The Emporium by Thornton Wilder, and I thought it was excellent. So I'm excited to see what they do with this revival of Clifford Odets' play. It's going to be directed by Stephen Pasquale, who I've never seen anything he's directed, so I've just seen him perform. Amazing performer, singer, actor. So I'm excited to see what he does with this. What is it about? Well, taxi drivers in Depression-era New York debate exploitation, solidarity, and whether they should strike. This is a political piece, political theater, and I think the themes of labor, power, and economic inequality will remain immediately recognizable, and I imagine a lot of these ideas will resonate today. So I'm excited to see this, especially after having seen the great work that they did with Thornton Wilder's play last season. So my excitement for this, we'll say a 7, maybe a 6. I Became We at Atlantic Theater Company. This is October 16th, first show. Written by Mona Pernot, music by Jack D. Cohen, lyrics by Pernot and Cohen, directed by Sarah Benson, 16-person choir. This is a first-person monologue, is performed through a 16-member choir. That sounds wackadoo crazy, and I'm here for it. One person's voice becomes a collective theatrical instrument, potentially transforming private autobiography into something communal and almost ritualistic. Well, this take of having your mind split into multiple people kind of reminds me of A Strange Loop, but this sounds like this is going to really lean into more choral work. All right, I'm a little concerned about this because this sounds like it might be really artistic and require a lot of its audience, a lot of patience, but it's a new musical opening in New York, off Broadway. It only runs a month though, October 16th through November 15th. So that concerns me. I'm gonna go in with low expectations and a lot of patience for this one. I think it's gonna be challenging. So my excitement for that is only a 5. Okay, next we have 222, A Ghost Story at the Lucille Lortel, October 20th, running through January 17th. Nice long run. By Danny Robbins, direction by Matthew Dunster and Gabriel Vega Weissman. 4 friends at a housewarming party disagree about whether the house is haunted. They agree to stay awake until 2:22 a.m. to find out. I guess why not 6:66? I feel like there's a lot of these spooky stories that are coming out. Again, I'm not really into horror or spooky theater or even movies. It's a British hit, which concerns me too, because I sometimes feel like they focus so much on the lighting and the elements and everything that the story isn't really there. It's all about suspense. It'll be interesting. I'm only excited. My excitement level for this is going to be just a 5 as well. All right, The Visitors at Signature Theater, October 21st, by Brenna Turner and directed by Jenna Worsham. A woman asks her siblings for a shocking favor, forcing the family to confront what it owes one another. That's not a great tagline because it tells me nothing. I don't know about this. I'm not super excited about it. Also, I wish I had more information about it. Supposedly it's like a play that has a twist in it. She is known for finding comedy in uncomfortable situations, and I like that. My excitement for this is just a 3. Next, we have We'll See at the Public Theater, October 25th. Richard Nelson, author, and the Apple Family Ensemble. The Apple family gathers on the actual 2026 midterm election night while waiting for results. Richard Nelson's Apple plays have always placed ordinary family conversation against major political events. Here the experiment becomes unusually literal. The real election will unfold outside the theater while the fictional family waits for the results. What? And it means the play is going to change from night to night based on what's going on outside. I don't know. We'll see. I do like the title because My excitement for this, well, this is crazy. So actually, I'm going to give it a 6. A little more excited for this because it just seems crazy to me. And I do love crazy theater, and the public is good because they can do all sorts of theater in all their venues. Okay, then we also have at the Verge, we have the Public Theater and the Fiasco Theater teaming up on October 27th. This will begin previews. That's by Susan Glaspell. Fiasco Theater, directed by Jesse Austrian, and a fiercely unconventional botanist attempts to create new life forms and escape society's rules. Written in 1921, Glaspell's play is feminist, eccentric, and almost science fictional in its refusal to accept conventional boundaries for women. Fiasco's theater history of radical theatrical classical works makes this a promising pairing. Again, as I said with some other earlier plays, it just means, can you make this old play feel current to right now? Not super excited about this because it seems like it's kind of a risky play, and it's running just over a month, but we'll try to go check it out. My excitement is just a 2 for this. Okay, Miss Black for President at the Vineyard Theater, opening November 1st, previews beginning sometime in October. This is written by Terrell Alvin McCraney, and it's directed by Tina Landau. It's starring Wayne Brady. This is the true story of Joan Jett Black, a black drag queen who ran for president during the AIDS crisis. The historical subject is astonishing on its own, but the timing makes it even more interesting. The production can connect queer history, drag performance, AIDS activism, and American electoral politics without inventing a contemporary parallel. Look at Wayne Brady diving into queer subjects, having just done La Cage aux Folles, and having commented on my review of it in an effort to enlighten me. Thank you, Wayne. I'm really excited about this. This sounds just fascinating. So yeah, I'm gonna give this an excitement level of 8. Hopefully this will be one of the better things, because I've seen some great stuff at the Vineyard, but sometimes not. All right, next we have Tristan and Yuzult at St. Anne's Warehouse. We're into November, y'all. Thanks. Who's still watching this? I myself am barely making through this, and it's hot in here. I'm sweating. Okay, November 1st. This is by Emma Rice. Live music and physical theater, an ecstatic, physically theatrical retelling of the medieval Tristan and Isolde love story. Am I saying that right? I know I've heard it. How do you say that name? Tell me in the comments below. This is Knee-High's production, developed a cult reputation for turning an old legend into a messy, sensual, funny, musically driven theatrical event. Its return to St. Anne's raises an interesting question about whether the theatrical language still feels radical years later. I'm excited to see this. This, if it was good enough the first time around, it sounds a bit crazy. It sounds like St. Anne's is a great place to see it. This sounds like a fun night down in Brooklyn, but it only runs from November 1st to November 22nd. I don't like that. That's too short. But I want to see this, so excitement level 7. Next, November 5th, 7 Guitars, Mitzi E. Newhouse, Lincoln Center Theater. 10. I'll tell you right now, 10, excitement level. This is August Wilson, directed by Ruben Santiago Hudson, who's done so much Wilson. I don't know if I've ever seen him direct, but I want to see him do this. Just so you know what this is about. I've never seen this Wilson play. So I'm so happy to finally get to see a production of this. Set in 1948 Pittsburgh, Wilson's play follows musicians and friends dealing with love, ambition, betrayal, and racism after the death of a blues musician. And this is done in the Mitzi E. Newhouse, one of my favorite theaters off Broadway. Can't wait to see this. 10. The Conversation at Astor Place. December 7th opening. We're in December, y'all, but previews begin in November. Joshua Henry and Julia Harriman. Book, Nick Green. Direction, Kenny Leon. Pop R&B soul score. A musical about the complexity of a long-term relationship. Well, that tells me nothing. Joshua Henry is both creator and star, while Kenny Leon brings major Broadway directing experience. The two-person relationship musical format is deceptively difficult because the audience has to care about tiny changes in the relationship. Oh wow, this one is, I didn't know Joshua Henry was a writer. Okay, this is playing for 10 weeks at Astor Place. I'm a little hesitant about this because Joshua Henry wrote it and he's performing in it. So the writing doesn't need to be good. I'm going to go see it because Joshua Henry, that's why I can see why he could get this produced. So I'm going with low expectations, and I hope he really surprises me. I mean, just to hear this man sing, and the fact that he wrote the music, that'll be really interesting because he'll be able to write things that are really suited for his voice. So I'm excited more about just him singing at me, like he did in Ragtime, just for me. That I'm excited about. So I'm pretty excited about this one. I'm going to give this an 8. Yeah, it'll be interesting. Okay, next we have Imitations of Life at the Shed. November 21st, previews begin. This has a book by Lynn Nottage, music and lyrics by John Legend, directed by Whitney White. Wow. Okay, now I love Lynn Nottage as a great playwright, although she did write MJ, which I have yet to review. But we're going to forgive her for the book for that because I'm sure there were just a lot of balls she had to juggle to get that thing finished. So this is based on Fannie Hurst's novel. The musical follows 2 single mothers, one black, one white, and their daughters across the 1920s and 1930s as they confront race, ambition, love, and the things they pass on to a new generation. Love that 20s and 30s period for music. This source has already had 2 film adaptations, and so it'll be interesting to see if this is a story that can sing. Of all these projects that I'm seeing, this is definitely one that might have its eye on Broadway transfer just based on the people connected to it. So, I mean, John Legend. But the problem here, has John Legend ever written a musical? Does he know how to write songs for a musical? Will Lynn Nottage be able to tell him, does she know what songs are needed for a musical? So we'll see. This is playing at the Shed. My excitement for this is going to be a 9. No, it's going to be a 10. It's going to be a 10. Come on. Okay, Wild Rose, New York Theater Workshop. November 24th, it begins performances. Written by Nicole Taylor, directed by John Tiffany, choreography Stephen Hoggett and Vicky Manderson. A Scottish woman fresh out of jail dreams of becoming a country singer while her mother wants her to concentrate on raising her children. Nicole Taylor wrote the screenplay for the original Wild Rose film, so the stage adaptation is coming from the person who created the story. That worries me. John Tiffany and the Hoggett-Manderson team bring a strong musical theater pedigree, especially in actor-driven physical storytelling. It always worries me when I see people writing a new musical and I just don't know anything about them, especially when they had success as a movie, so now they're going to write a musical. So that's November 24th begins and closes January 10th. So a nice long run. New York Theater Workshop. My guess is it's going to feel like it's still in development. It is New York Theater Workshop. But I think it'll be fun to see this on the ground floor. So my excitement for this is a 7. A View from the Bridge at La Mama, November 27th. Arthur Miller, Sam Rockwell, Marin Ireland, Alfred Molina. What? Miller's Brooklyn tragedy follows longshoreman Eddie Carbone, whose obsessive feelings for his niece become destructive when her cousin arrives as undocumented immigrants. Now, I saw the production with Liev Schreiber and my favorite actress of all time, Jessica Hecht. I don't know if that's true, but I do hold her very highly. I love Sam Rockwell. So I think this is going to be a totally different take. It's being done at La Mama, which says that it's going to be more experimental than maybe the other production I saw, which was a more traditional production, which is what I usually prefer. But the fact that it's at La Mama tells me to maybe expect a little craziness. This is a 10 in excitement for me. Sam Rockwell and a play I love, Arthur Miller. Yes, please. And who else was it? Oh yeah, and Alfred Molina. Come on. Okay, Saigon at St. Anne's Warehouse. Now we're really in December. We're almost done, guys. This is the last month. Fourth month. December 3rd it begins, and it runs to December 20th. Such short runs at St. Anne's, but they often extend them. So, writer Caroline Guela Nguyen. This is French and Vietnamese with English captions. Well, it's interesting to hear the Saigon story told by someone who, the Vietnamese side, I'm sick of hearing Americans talk about Vietnam. An ensemble story moves between 1950s Vietnam and 1990s Paris, exploring war, exile, family, memory, and the emotional consequence of migration. It's a multilingual cross-cultural structure is fundamental to the piece. So there's subtitles that are part of the experience. Subtitles can be difficult in theater, but you know what? I deal with them in movies. It's not a musical. I think I'll be fine. Musical subtitles are really hard. But I think this sounds interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing this. But my excitement level, because it sounds like it's very heavy. It's asking a lot of its audience with the translation. I'm going to only put my excitement at a 4 for this. All right. Spring Awakening is coming back to Studio Seaview. Music by Duncan Sheik, book and lyrics by Steven Sater, directed by Danya Taymor, choreography by Celia Rolson Hall. The landmark rock musical follows teenagers confronting sexuality, repression, abuse, identity, and the consequences of adults refusing to listen. So, I don't know about this one because I love the score for Spring Awakening, but I don't love this show. Because when I saw it on Broadway, first of all, I was a little scandalized by it. People were bringing their kids to it, which made no sense to me. I felt like it was really preaching to the choir, like, teach your children about sex and don't go to get back alley abortions. You know, it just felt like it was this story of just teenagers just destroying themselves, and I had a really hard time with it. At the same time, I love the music, but it's the kind of music I would just like to put in on the car and listen to while I'm driving. I never have really loved the show. Now, I never saw the Deaf West production, which I heard was great. I actually saw a regional production of the show. I just enjoy the music, but I'm never excited about the play. So, I don't know. My excitement's just a 4 for bringing Spring Awakening back. Sorry for all the people who love it with every inch of their life. Okay, The Hairy Ape, Irish Repertory Theatre. I've never seen The Hairy Ape, so this is exciting to me. It's by Eugene O'Neill. It's directed by Kieran O'Reilly. A ship's coal stoker feels completely at home in the brutal engine room until a wealthy woman encounters him and makes him suddenly aware that the society outside his world considers him as an outsider. This is an expressionistic play. I've never seen it before, and it can feel dated, but just the fact that I know this play, but I've never seen it, makes me very excited. And also, I just feel like Irish Rep does such heartfelt, good work, and it's such an intimate theater that I can think of no better place to see a old Eugene O'Neill play. So my excitement for this is a 7. All right, so for those who, this is a long video, I don't know, you're just living with me in real time as I learn about these shows. I don't know if this is interesting at all. You may be like, Matt, we don't need any more of these. People wanted me to do an off-Broadway. There's no way I'm doing that, because if you think there's a lot of off-Broadway plays, the number of off-Broadway plays, and honestly, I don't review off-Broadway unless there has to be a really exciting reason to go. And ultimately, I'm often disappointed. So let's not get into that. Let's keep it positive. This is going to be a great theater season, both on Broadway and off-Broadway. I hope you enjoyed this off-Broadway preview. I hope I edited it well enough that it is not an hour and 12 minutes, which is what the clock is saying right now. I'm hoping it is well under 45 minutes. So let me know in the comments below what shows you want me to see off Broadway. And I'll see everything on Broadway, no worries there. But if there's something off Broadway that you're excited about, let me know, because I'll probably be excited about too. I find that the people who subscribe to my channel are a lot like me, love theater just as much as I do. So when you're excited about a play, I'm excited about a play. And I hope some of the plays that I've talked about, my excitement transfers to you. Please let me know in the comments below what plays you are excited about. I really want to know. Let's start talking about those, and that way, when we do the review, we'll all be ready for it. Okay, so thank you for watching this long video, and I will be bringing you, reviews are going to be starting up soon. All right, thanks for watching. I hope the next play you see, you will not be bored and you will not be confused. Bye.
Don't bore me. Don't confuse me. If you do, then you'll lose me. Don't wanna drift away, wanna stay inside the play.